And now, from the studios of Earthcast Radio in the sweltering heat of the Arizona desert, it's time for the RaunchFoxxx Foxxcast. With your host, 6'10" RaunchFoxxx, the smokescreen machine, Paullywood, and our daily dose of southern discomfort, Bubba. So sit back, strap in, and get ready for another great ride. Here's your host, RaunchFoxxx.
All right, everybody. Hey, what's happening? It's the Foxxcast right here on Earthcast Radio. Episode 11 already is over with, and this is episode 12. This is the Dirty Dozen today. Paulie, it's the Dirty Dozen show.
Dirty? Oh, my goodness. I showered. I don't know about you guys, but I'm definitely clean for this.
Bubba Ganoush, it's the Deep Dirty South Dozen show.
Yeah, I don't count for 12. That's way beyond my ability.
Yeah, that's what she said. All right, well, listen, hey, man, it's all good in the hood. Well, it's good to have everybody back here, earthcastradio.com, where, we basically will say what's on your mind, and we like to stir it up, and we like to make fun of the news. We like to get serious with the news. We like to challenge the government and all the people that are in denial and all the sheeple, and, we like to bring it all to you. But before we do get started, we would like to remind you that right here, Earthcast Radio with the RaunchFoxxx Foxxcast, you can hear us on Podomatic, and you can hear us on Stitcher, and also, what's the other one, Paulie? Spreaker, yeah, that's it. Spreaker. I'm just kidding. I knew it was Spreaker. And also, Spreaker uploads everything to YouTube. So there's definitely places out there. And the cool thing about this podcast is the fact that it is on demand. So if we were doing a live show on a Wednesday night at 7:30 and you couldn't make it, well, you've got the podcast on demand. So you can listen to half of it at work. You can listen to half of it driving home. You can plug it in. You can do whatever you want. We're here for you. And that's the cool thing. And you've got 11 episodes before this one to check out as well. If you go over to Podomatic and type in RaunchFoxxx Foxxcast, you'll see everything. So again, hello everybody. We are here together, and of course, there's a lot going on out in the news. This is my part of the show where I get to spoof the news a little bit, and then of course later on we've got Paullywood doing his smokescreen machine and his conspiracy theory and all the cool stuff. Bubba Ganoush with just some straight out stuff from down in the deep dirty South. And Bubba, I got to tell you, your signal sounds a little clearer this week. I know that you go around and try to steal Wi-Fi. Last week you were at a McDonald's or somewhere, but are you in a neighborhood today? Or I'm not going to ask you where your location is, but it sounds like you made a good connection with somebody who was unsecured.
It's been warm lately, so the American people have been working harder, so my Obama net's been working better.
There you go. And some of them, if they work overtime, it means you can pull up right in front of their house before they come home from work.
I can watch videos and everything then. It's great.
That's a beautiful thing. All right, well, listen, here's what's going to Paulie. Paulie, Bubba, I don't know if you know this, but Paulie's he's one of those sci-fi kind of guys. He loves his Game of Thrones, and of course he likes Star Wars. And Star Wars 7, as you know, it's been announced. We talked about this briefly last week. It does include Harrison Ford, Carrie Fisher, Mark Hamill. And Paulie, I can probably tell you this, the Rebel Alliance tries to save Mark Hamill from an autograph signing of a comic book convention in a galaxy far, far away. So that's pretty much what's happening with that one. But anyway, check it out. I'm sure Paulie will get... That's what you can do, Paulie. You can give us a rundown of the movie after you go see it. That can be like a segment for you.
I was actually thinking of abstaining from seeing this movie because it's going to be Disney related. But, after the last three that came out that George Lucas kind of rushed into production, I'm starting to have second thoughts. I think I will go see this one at least once.
Just for
You're
sure.
going to be one of those in line, aren't you?
Well, you know what? I have one of those lightsaber props and everything. So, I won't be in costume or anything like that. But I probably will be standing in line at some point to go and get a ticket for this.
You won't be in costume. That's a scary thought right there.
I said I won't be in costume this time.
Holy shit. I remember last Halloween I was naked on roller skates as a pool toy, but that's about the best. That's the closest I ever came to ever being in a costume. Anyway, scientists are now saying, listen to this, scientists are now saying that we can harvest electric power from flushing our toilet. This is amazing. One night of the Kardashians could power fucking Chicago, Also, our princes, Prince William and Prince Harry, they're in Memphis. You might want to find out what's going on down there, Bubba, but they're actually, they're attending a friend's wedding. They paid a visit to Graceland, and having never actually met one, William was particularly interested in seeing how a real king lives. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Brand new Cadillac.
That's right. Also, fans marveled, Paulie.
Marvel?
Yeah, they marveled. Anyway, at the Sunday's episode of The Simpsons, it was titled Brick Like Me. It featured the entire cast made of Lego blocks. And, yeah, it was so successful, SpongeBob SquarePants plans an episode with a deep-sea character made out of IKEA furniture that they actually put together themselves. Never a dull moment in the competitive cartoon market. Also, there was a 2-day strike by London's tube workers, paralyzed transportation for millions of commuters. All roads in and out of London were so crowded. They were so crowded, Paulie.
Yeah.
How crowded were they?
How crowded were they?
Oh, they were so crowded, rude cabbies had to be imported from Paris to shout enough obscenities just to keep the fucking traffic moving, you know? Hey, you catching on. Silicon Valley's in the news. It's actually a new series on HBO. Yeah. And it's about 6 programmers who live together in Silicon Valley. They try to strike it rich. Viewership has fallen steeply after a few weeks in Los Angeles. The initial enthusiasm for the series, it actually kind of dropped a little bit after everyone figured out that it wasn't about implants, if you know. Hey, very titty men on it. Also, Buffalo Bills, as you know, we talked about this and got a chuckle out of Bubba last week when they had a jiggle test for the Buffalo Bills, the cheerleaders, and they were actually sued by the cheerleaders for more salary. And the girls were actually fined if their hair wasn't perfect. And, of course, they had to pass that jiggle test that we talked about last week when they bounce up and down. Now, the team owner, he figured that, what worked for Fox News might work for the Buffalo Bills. That's pretty much what they're saying. So what do you think about that, Bubba? Would you pass a jiggle test yourself?
Yeah, there's nothing on me that jiggles. The TSA made me do it.
If you crack a bone, you might hear the crazy. U.S. Postal Service, when are they not in the news, right? It's always something good or bad. This week, though, the U.S. Postal Service workers protested a program to create postal centers and staple stores. They're actually using store employees, not postal workers. Now, the push is on to cut costs. Last year, the Postal Service lost $6 billion, making it the most profitable branch of the U.S. government. And that's a loss of $6 billion. Oh, rubber's in the news. Rubbers. There's a condom distributor in New York City. They've added a 1-hour delivery service. There's even a guarantee. 60-minute door-to-drawers. All right. And either one of you guys basketball fans, you know I'm 6'10". I obviously am. I don't know if you guys like ball or not.
Yeah.
You are. Well, then you know Miami Heat has the best offense so far in the NBA.
Yeah.
They do. I mean, how do they score so easily and so often? Well,
steroids.
They think of the hoop as a Kardashian. Also, there's a new payment system using vein scans for identification. Check this out. That's nothing new. The IRS has been getting people's veins checked out to their very last drop of blood for tax payments for years, and the fucking vein, that's not new at all. Oh, listen to this. It's a good thing you don't live in Cuba, Bubba. And you too, Paulie. You know why?
Well, I mean, aside from the fact that it's effing Cuba, why else?
Well, there's a reporting they're reporting a shortage of beer and condoms.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yes, I pretty much put Saturday night on hold till further notice. You know? And if that wasn't enough, Rob Ford, you know, he's always in the news, our Toronto mayor, the big boy that he is. His lawyers are saying that he's taken a leave of absence. And this is to seek help for substance abuse. His paperwork at the rehab clinic is easy. When they ask if he's in for alcohol abuse or, what else was he in? If he was in for alcohol abuse, he was in for, they asked if he was in for drug abuse. They asked if he was in for an eating disorder. Pretty easy because then he just checks all the above. Disney World. Check this out. They opened a new roller coaster ride. You know what it's called?
What is it called, Ron?
Seven Dwarfs.
Brilliant.
Seven Dwarfs. I mean, it's not really recommended for those with a heart condition. I mean, talking about the admissions window, of course. And the Kentucky Derby ran. Right, California Chrome. California Chrome won the Kentucky Derby. And even more good news for the champion thoroughbred. He just had a shoe contract nailed down. And, of course, Bubba talked about this last week, and it had to surface sooner or later. Bubba, you were absolutely right. As we all found out, Ben Affleck was kicked out of a casino for counting cards. And, well, James Franco was actually great at blackjack. I mean, he's never hit anything over 21 anyway. Ooh. And scientists at Stanford, they boosted memory and muscle tone of old mice by giving them blood from young mice. You know, yeah, good for mice, but not so good for humans. I mean, who the fuck wants Larry King acting like Justin Bieber? You know what I'm saying? And Tesla Motors, this is like not a big deal, even though they were fined. They were fined $89,000 by Cal OSHA for violations at their Fremont factory. Apparently, the Energizer Bunny was caught taking a shit in the lunchroom. Yeah, that's what Neanderthals, Paulie. Here's a little serious. Neanderthals were just as smart as modern humans, the archaeologists are now saying. Just as smart. But it all depends on what you mean by smart. Their favorite entertainment, their favorite was cave drawings called Keeping Up with the Cavemen. Keeping Up with the Cavemen. All right? I just want to make sure Paulie was awake. That's why I said,
well,
hey,
maybe
Paulie.
that was actually their version of Cave Book. I mean, you never really know what they were doing with those pictures.
You never know. You know, they carve, they're carving rocks and holding them up. Hey, how are you? Like this? If you like my rock?
I can't wait till we find the prehistoric porn. It's stashed under something.
I can't wait. And you talk about prehistoric porn, all you got to think about is fucking John Holmes, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, we talked about this with Paulie last week, and also Bubba admitted eating these damn things. The new waffle breakfast taco over there at Taco Bell. They're having huge sales. I mean, for April, they killed it. I mean, it's a socially conscious company. Last year, Taco Bell pulled lion meat tacos from their menu after PETA protested, so they didn't want to have anything to do with that. And however, the Lions announced that they're going to continue to eat humans any fucking chance they get. So Beverly Hills Hotel was boycotted after gay activists after the hotel owner, the Sultan of Brunei, decreed the death penalty for gay sex in Brunei. Yeah, this is pretty crazy stuff. This is one of the nicest hotels in the world. At the Beverly Hills Hotel, the towels are so thick, you can barely close a suitcase. Well, that's enough of me. Couple more stories. There was a guy, the French president. What's his name? Francois Hollande. I have any idea. Well, he named his ex-partner, Ségolène Royal, to his cabinet. He left her for journalist Valerie Treitweiler, who he just left for actress Julie Gayet, 20 years younger than him. And under French infidelity law, he could get up to 20 high fives. Way to go, dude! Yeah! Edmund Abel, he's the inventor of the revolutionary Mr. Coffee brewer. All right, he's actually, he's not a Java fan himself, but he invented the Mr. Coffee brewer, Edmund Abel, which Joe DiMaggio hawked for years. He's died at the age of 92. So in his honor, baristas at Starbucks lowered customers' heat sleeves to half staff and played Take Me Out to the Ball Game on the freaking cash registers. And finally, who makes Frosted Flakes? What's that company called?
That's Kellogg's.
Kellogg's.
They're great.
They announced that sales of their former breakfast champs, Frosted Flake Mini Wheats and Pop-Tarts, have actually gone in a dumper. Business is so bad, Paulie.
How bad is it, Raunch?
It's so bad, Tony the Tiger had to take a second job entertaining fans during the 7th-inning stretch at Detroit games. But anyway, that's the way we see the news in and around the world on the Foxxcast. So with that being said, ladies and germs, we'll be back in just a little bit here. We're going to take a short break, a pause for the cause. Little Jimi Hendrix. I always throw this in because I know Paulie likes Jimi Hendrix. And when we come back, we're going to talk about a couple things, have some banter. It's going to be a good old time out here, so don't go anywhere. Foxxcast, we'll be back in just a minute.
We'll be back with more of the RaunchFoxxx Foxxcast. No whimps. You know if you belong. Stay tuned.
The Rock and Joe have been real busy lately.
Bailouts, stimulus packages, and now a pandemic. Oh.
Now, they're fired up and ready to blow off some steam.
Hey, Barack, you thinking what I'm thinking? Road trip!
The Rock and Joe go to White Castle.
I'm so hungry I could eat like 20 of those burgers, man.
Dude, I will see your 20 burgers and raise you 5 orders of fries.
The Rock and Joe go to White Castle.
Thank you. Come again.
Get ready to achieve multiple eargasms with the biggest stroke job in cyberspace. If the microphone was a clit, none of you bitches would complain about a long, drawn-out speech. RaunchFoxxx and the cyber sickness, getting people off on their own computers.
Cases and the illness it brings, and each time they talk they say the germs they can cling, so I go scrubbing and rinsing when I run to the sink. My honey, my baby, you don't want virus on yourself. I think you'll probably be fine, just wash your hands for your health. Wash your hands, baby, scrub them good, keep them clean. Ooh, this swine flu won't go away. I hear there's many more people being infected each day. Well, I'll make sure that I'm hygienic. None of them germs I'll allow. In fact, I'd rather be alive than be dead anyhow. My honey, my baby, you don't want virus on yourself. I think you'll probably be fine. Just wash your hands for your health.
Some radio stations are special. All you need to hear is the station name, and you know it's different from the rest. The music, the contests, the talent. And now, we return to the RaunchFoxxx Cyber Sickness. It's no holds barred. We've been fucking the FCC since the FCC started fucking.
All right, everybody, welcome back. Yours truly, RaunchFoxxx, the RaunchFoxxx Foxxcast, right here on Earthcast Radio, and we certainly are glad. Yes, I am. We're certainly glad you're back with us. Paulie and Bubba Ganoush, we're all here together for our little banter today, and of course, we always like to start out with, hey, what'd you guys do last week? How was your week? So, who are we going to start with today? We'll go in alphabetical order, and we'll start with Bubba. So what's happening, Bubba? You know, we talked to you earlier, and you said basically you were, like, trying out for a part in True Blood. What the hell did you do?
I cut my finger off in a tragic, horrible accident. Now, I opened up my damn finger using a pocket knife in place of a wrench because, you know, I do what I want, and I'm a dumbass.
You used a pocket knife in place of a wrench, and you were working on
my battery. I was replacing the battery terminal, and I was in a hurry, and I was, yeah, there you go. And now I'm bleeding, and I've used many Band-Aids.
Are you bleeding as we speak?
Yeah, slightly.
And all I care about is commitment to the show.
That's it.
No, I'm sure that, I'm sure if it was bad enough, we wouldn't even be doing this podcast right now. We'd have to wait for you.
Well, the IRS would be sucking every drop of blood out of his fingers if they could.
That's right, with those vein identifications.
I've got plenty of blood. Plenty, so we're good.
All right. Well, so what's happening, man? Did you have an interesting week? I mean, I know that you get on these battles on these social media broadcast sites like Vaughn Live, and that was a big thing for you this week. But how about just in general, in life in general? Because we wanted to talk to you a little bit about these strippers that you know, or I don't know if you live with them or they frequent you. Or are you guys in the same house together?
Yeah, I live with them. It's their, I have nothing and I don't work and they do, and that's why I can live here and I don't have to worry about money. But yeah, this is all theirs.
So is it a pretty cool thing? I mean, you guys party a little bit and...
Not really, not like I guess what y'all are thinking. Like, it's been years now. When I first met them, yeah, sure, but now it's just some people I live with. We barely see each other.
So on a good night, they might catch you jerking off. That's about this as exciting as it gets.
Yeah, usually.
All right. What did you say? Just making sure.
If I wanted to do things, I'm sure I could, and it's always there. If not, it's not hard to find one of their friends.
Or are they really close, these two chicks?
Close to each other?
Yeah, literally, yeah.
No, I mean, they're just friends. It's just, they make a lot of money.
Make a lot of money. So they handle business and Are they pretty free the way they run around the house when they're not working?
All of them are. I mean, they have their friends that come over and they're always changing outfits. It's just something you can, at first, it's great. It's like, yeah, nudity. And then eventually it's like, damn, too much nudity. Trust me, there is such thing as too much nudity.
I mean, it gets to the point where you say, I wonder what that bitch would look like in clothes.
In some clothes, yeah. I can't wait to see you in panties. Yeah, that's exciting. So, yeah, there's, plenty of times where I'm back here doing this and there's, who knows what the hell they're doing out there. They're changing and talking about who they don't like and who's creepy and I don't care.
Well, that sucks. I mean, I can hear Paulie right now. Oh, I'm sorry, Paulie. Paulie,
that's me. My mic must be the gain must be up a little bit.
For those who don't know, Paulie, can you imagine the life of Raleigh like that? I mean, you'd like to be in the early years of Bubba, and when those strippers first moved in, I guess.
Actually, it was when I first moved in. Yeah, now we got a hot tub, so I mean, there's nothing for them to be topless. It's absolutely, I mean, it's what they do, so it's not a damn thing for them to be topless.
You're killing Paulie right now. Paulie, come on, put yourself in his shoes. Could you handle that?
Oh man, you know what, Bubba? One of these days, I'm just going to have to kind of come down for a visit, and we'll relive some of the early years, if you don't mind.
Them.
Do you have to tip them every once in a while, Bubba?
No. Oh, they give me money. I don't have any money.
What, do you have to give them a show?
What? Yeah, I've had to. Yeah, they've got me to do it before. They get a couple of them come back from out being at a club and half drunk or whatever and tell me come in there and we'll fuck around. And yeah, I do shit like that.
And they'll throw you some lube and say, go ahead?
No, there's no lube involved.
What'd you say, Paulie?
He's just going dry, apparently. I know the feeling.
Yeah, I've done cocaine off of plenty of nipples and shit like that. It's one of those things, the first couple times you do it, it's great. After that, it's like, okay, I've done this.
Yeah, right. The fantasy is killed. Like, now, what do you have to do? Like, you got to watch, even if you watch a porn and say, man, I should try this, you're like, I already did that too.
Yeah, I've done that, and it's like, yeah, nobody believes me when I tell them I'm just bored as shit. It's just, I'm bored.
Yeah. Would that make you bored, Paulie?
You know what? Maybe after a while it would, but I would do whatever I could to find ways to amuse myself.
Hey, believe me, I went through everything, and I've done. In the beginning, I was like a kid, and I'm fucking, let's do this. Goddamn it,
the candy store, yeah, right.
Yeah, but then after a while, it's just like okay.
But Paulie, I mean, just fantasizing about being in Bubba's situation.
And there are certain things that I would definitely be envious of, at least for the short while. But the way he talks about it, it sounds like it would get a little tiring after a while. I mean, after all, dude, they're strippers. And, aside from having fantastic bodies, there are certain things that they're just not qualified for. And I'm sure that just kind of wears on you after a while.
But in the early going, would you be satisfied for a little while, Paulie?
Sure, of course I would, man. Who wouldn't?
You're overlooking the best part. See, you're just seeing it as, vagina. Fuck the vagina. They make close to $200,000 a year together. I don't have to do anything but take naps, smoke weed, and play video games all day.
So they keep the fridge filled?
Oh, yeah. There's guys who'd give up sex to be able to live the way that I fucking do for free.
Whoa.
Wow. Yeah, forget the girl thing. The fact is, I'm 15 forever because all I do is I spend most of my day trying to figure out what new video game I want to play or some shoes I want. Or
you don't even have to do the laundry or clean the house, do you?
I don't know how to do laundry.
Right. So
I really don't. So I can put things in the dryer sometimes.
So they hook you up. I mean, you got skid marks. They take care of you, clean them up. You got them nice and folded on your bed when you come home or when you go back.
I'm a fucking grown ass child. I have to have somebody there to tell me to do this or to get this or to if not for them, I'd be dead.
Something like, hey, lick it harder, watch your teeth. Yeah, I know. That's a tough position right there. Paulie, I would hate it.
Dude, I don't know. The more he talks about it, the more I want to get my ass back down to Tennessee.
Yeah, but I had to cut my finger off today to change out a damn battery terminal. That is I got to take the trash out, clean up shit. If somebody follows them home, I'm the guy of the house. That's my role here.
So he cut his finger off, and the girls are like, fuck it, he's got 9 others. All right, well.
One less nail for him to clip. I mean, really?
They buy me shoes. They buy me shoes and make up for the blood.
So if you say, hey man, check out this new this T-shirt or this I like this this clothing line. If you see something out there my size, pick it up. They bring it home to you.
I get catalogs in the mail, and then I point out what I like.
And they order it for you.
They either order it or when next time they're at the mall, they'll just grab it.
There you go. Take that, everybody. So right when you think these strippers are all like taking advantage of guys and stuff like that, we got the reverse advantage of Bubba Ganoose and, of course, Paulie in the background with his... attitude. Isn't that right, Sean? Ah, that's right. All right. Well, that's pretty cool. I mean, you know, I got to be honest with you. Back in the day, I did manage a couple of those quote unquote titty bars, and it was a tough life, but somebody had to do it.
Exactly.
You know, and the goal was, hey, he's got a titanium credit card. I want you to milk it. When it's done, give him a kiss goodnight and say, see you next week or whenever you pay off that card.
That's nobody gets that. They think them girls are out there trying to get your $100 bills, and they could care less about your $100 bills. They want that plastic to come out.
That's exactly right. I mean, we were charging $50-$100 for a slow dance, and they were still in there, still dressed. You know, I had every cab driver in town bird dogging him. I said, you know, when these business boys come to Baltimore from Pittsburgh or New York or Los Angeles, show them where the titty bar is, because we were out in the county, so it was a little bit of ways from the city. But, you know, if they brought them there, they got a nice bird dog for it, dropped the guys off. They had nowhere to go except back in the cab to get home. So, you know, we had a quote-unquote captive audience many, many times.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Good stuff, man.
And it's recession-proof, too.
People don't get it, man. People don't get it, at least the ones that don't. Of course, you know, then being an owner, you know, I had to deal with the ditzes and their biker boyfriends and all the horse shit that went with it, you know. Seen it all. Yeah. But anyway, so with that being said, Paulie, so you... This past week, I said that you had some things you were doing, and I know you said you went and met your brother or some friends about a week ago, and you said you drank a little bit, maybe too much on one given night or whatever. What else did you do this week? Anything exciting?
No, you know, it's really only been a few short days since we last recorded, so I mean, not a whole hell of a lot is going on. You know, the life around here is a slow life, man. I'm still waiting to get my hands on some transportation so that I can get back on the job hunt. I mean, this is really starting to bother me at this time of year. When you know,
I hear you. And, you know, another week has passed. We're still waiting for our boy Gino to come through with that classy computer that he built for you, and we're still waiting for it. We're still waiting for it.
You have to give up on that, I think.
I don't know if he's listening. I'm sure he told me the other day, said his hand is better. He screwed his shoulder up and everything else. He was out of whack, and he assured me that things are back in order. So if we see it by July 4th, I'll believe him. And then we'll get him on the show. He's got a nice little setup. We'll talk about his computer repair business and what he does. And, you know, I think it's only fair. He deserves that once he comes through.
Well, you know what? He has a command center and a computer room that rivals, you know, both of yours put together, Raunch, and it just seems like it's going to waste right now. You know, there's a lot more he could be doing with it than he is.
I'll challenge him and see what he's got any day of the week. If his command center is anything like his word sending you a computer, I think I'll kick his ass. Talk is cheap.
Yeah, I agree, dude. And by the way, to rival mine, you need a phone that's half dead. Then there you go. You're rivaling my command center.
Bullshit, man. You can use one of those Mickey Mouse plastic Disneys or one of those. What's that toy company? Not Play School. The one with all the plastic toys from back in the day.
Price.
There you go. Now we know. See, when Paulie's home by himself, he does keep himself busy, and that just proved it.
That was a little suspect.
So what else has been happening? You know, we talk about chemtrails every week. Every week I got one or two haters on Facebook. You're a whack job. You're a wing ding. You're this, you're that. And I'm like, you're in denial. And then we just barrage them with all the chemtrail stuff. But today, I was talking to Paulie on my Skype on my Android from the Hummer, and I opened the sunroof and I put the Android to the sky. And what'd you see, Paulie?
It was a beautiful, clear day, or at least maybe not clear, but it was, you know, a few puffy clouds here and there. Bob Ross would be proud, but, you know, otherwise nothing, no lines in the sky, you know, a beautiful deep blue for that matter. And, you know, it was pretty nice looking.
And that's the blue that should be there every day when it's clear, but then you got your gray, hazy days and your light blues. That's because it's layered with all the bullshit, you know. And, you know, we did have a buddy of yours, a Marine, who, you know, he thought I was an idiot, and then, of course, he apologized on Facebook yesterday. I'm not going to say his name. He's pretty cool, actually. But his attitude, Paulie, what did he say when it came to chemtrails? Now, this is a Marine, folks, man. His quote was what? 40,000, and I'll let you finish.
Yeah, he said that, you know, you do realize there would have to be about 40,000 pilots in on this at once in order for it to be plausible. And, you know, I mean, I can kind of see where he's coming from, but at the same time, you know, getting 40,000 people to do something that they're either not aware of or that they're, you know, willing to do isn't really all that hard. I mean, wars are started with more people, you know, by greater lines of bullshit.
What do you think about that, Bubba? Here's a Marine saying, oh, yeah, 40,000 pilots have to be into it. You know what I want to say to him? I say, dude, you work for the military. Last time I checked, you have to do what you're told.
Yeah, he has to follow. He can't speak out against, so he's just doing what he's supposed to do.
Absolutely. He's a debunker. He's debunking the debunking, as we talk about. And Paulie's going to be real good at that as well later on. But and then you've got other guys. Oh no, it's contrails, it's water vapor, it's this, it's that. But just remember the word Monsanto, because I was riding today with Jen. We were cruising around here in Arizona a little bit, and we saw all the corn starting to come up out of the ground. All the seeds that come from Monsanto. The ones that are treated with the chemicals that when bugs try to eat the corn as it's growing, it makes their intestines explode. And this is the same corn that we eat. So What the hell? What's going to happen to us 5 or 10 years down the road? Are these chemicals going to affect us? Man, we could talk about so much. But one quick thing that I do want to talk about before we take a break, and then we'll come back with Bubba. Jen was talking about this today. She gets CBD a liquid, if you will. It's what is it? The juice or whatever you call it, the tincture, whatever. She gets it, and the THC, of course, that's the euphoria. That's the stuff that gets you buzzed. But she gets the CBD part of the weed, but she got it in an eye drop form. And what it does for her and Bubba, when she takes this stuff as medical marijuana, it relaxes her and makes her less anxious, and it's actually a pain reliever.
Sounds awesome.
So she takes it. Well, she was in the dispensary today, and we just found out. He says that now, check this out, the government is trying to make CBD illegal to sell and put it up on a platform 1 or whatever you want to call it category, and they're saying that it's something that is habit forming, and they're going to try to stop the sales of CBD. Now, Paulie, why do you think they're trying to do that?
Well, I mean, 2 reasons. First of all, nobody in big pharmacy or medicine companies are really interested in a cure or anything that's effective. What they're looking for is to get you, onto a treatment program that's long-term and profitable for them. And if something comes out that, is more effective than the crap that they're peddling, they've got to do something to control it right away. Otherwise, it dips into their profits. I mean, is that more or less what you think, Raunch?
That's the exact answer. That's exact answer, Bubba. That's what they do. And it's just like anything else. Cancer, there's cancer cures out there, but, you're talking billions of dollars with the big pharma that would be lost if people just really had the opportunity to go natural and do what they do. And that's why they call it the Food and Drug Administration. They're processing the food. They're putting shit in the food to make you sick so they can give you the drugs and blah, 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 blah. So
I have a soldier friend. He'll tell you quick that he was injured, and he was on oxys for a year, almost 2 years, I think, and he's been off of them for almost a year by smoking medical marijuana. Does not take those anymore. So, yeah, that's a huge loss to profit.
You can't deny the video on the internet about Charlotte's Web where you see the 5-year-old girl that was having seizures every single day. 5, 10, 12 seizures a day. She's had maybe 1 or 2 in a year now on the Charlotte's Web strain.
Jenny, an older lady that we all know, is in pain a lot. She's going through a lot of things. She does not take any type of pills. She smokes weed.
Yeah, and she's in a state that doesn't have the medical marijuana. However, because it is treatable, she has the federal government sends her joints every single month, and I think she's allowed, 3 a day? So times 30 days is 90, and she gets 3 months at a time. So she'll get 270 over 300 joints rolled by the federal government, basically.
Right.
Yeah, well, bless her heart. And I mean, she's an ex-cop of all things. You want to talk about irony? I mean, seriously, this is somebody who made a living busting people who had a couple of joints in their ashtray or whatever, and now she's benefiting from federally rolled joints on her own.
Exactly, and it's working for her. So God bless her.
It's catching on.
That's
and
it.
Good. It's a natural way to kill pain and without all the side effects, and it's going to be devastating to pharmaceutical companies, and there's no way around. It's going to be devastating to textile companies and the paper companies eventually, because hemp is infinitely better than cotton. And
absolutely.
So, it's going to be a threat, and it's going to be fought, and it's going to be, it's going to be difficult.
It is. So anything that's going to dip into the Food and Drug Administration's pockets, forget about it. So we'll see what happens.
You're talking about old economy. That's old world, old America economy. You're not messing with that. They're not going to let you.
You're absolutely right. Well, listen, when we come back,
you're unbelievable.
We'll have Mr. Bubba Ganoush and our Deep Dirty South. This is RaunchFoxxx. You're listening to the RaunchFoxxx Foxxcast on Earthcast Radio. When we come back again, it's Bubba. It's another break. It's Paullywood. And before you know it, episode 12 will be over. So keep it right here. You're listening to the Foxxcast, Earthcast Radio, RaunchFoxxcast.com.
We'll be back with more verbal abuse from the world's largest net shock jock. 6'10" Raunch Fox. He's nuts over you. Well, actually, most people.
In this current economic climate, escape your worries through the wonderful world of stamp collecting. Right now, the government is producing more stamps than ever before. Issued through the U.S. Department of Agriculture, these coveted stamps feature such patriotic images as Thomas Jefferson and Alexander Hamilton, and are available in $10, $5, and $1 denominations. Collect all three and swap with your friends. Create a scrapbook or visit your local grocery store and trade them for food. If you hunger for a new hobby or just plain hunger, fill yourself up by collecting stamps.
Go ahead, smoke your mouth. Eat your dry hard. Do you have enough RAM? Bend over and let the Raunch upgrade your memory. The RaunchFoxxx cyber sickness. Oozing out of computers everywhere.
Guten Tag. It has come to my attention that tourists think we Germans are too grumpy. This is of course false and will not do. Today, I announce the implementation of Joyful German Plan. Yeah, we all want Germans to be cheerful, to smile, and to feel light in their lederhosen. For example, when someone walks up to you on the street, do not sneer at them, be bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. By being happy, you will make an impression on a visitor that will last 1,000 years. So I command you, turn that frown upside down and be a joyful German. That is all.
And I will always love drugs. I will always love drugs. I will always love drugs.
And now, back to the only white man that made Shaquille O'Neal look away in the men's locker room. RaunchFoxxx, packing more penis than a Lance Bass Elton John sausage fest.
All right, welcome back, everybody. It's the RaunchFoxxx Foxxcast right here, Earthcast Radio. Again, you can check us out on Stitcher, on Spreaker, and, of course, Podomatic. And last but not least, iTunes. So once again, welcome back to the show. And based on what I have seen, ladies and gentlemen, I think it is definitely about that time.
Okay, Fox fans, from south of the Mason-Dixon line, the deep, dark, dirty South, he's never sweet, but always stiff. It's time for another shot of Southern discomfort with the Foxxcast's own Bubba Ganoush.
All right, everybody, welcome back. And now, Bubba Ganoush. What's up, brother?
All right, I have an issue this week. I spend a lot of time on social media, so I see a large cross-section of people on a daily basis. And I have noticed a trend among people, guys especially, on becoming females. I don't want to be politically correct. Guys are becoming bitches. They're just willing to lay down. No more balls, no more heart, no more standing up. This is a whole new generation of the guys, of the men who are going to be in control of everything at some point. That can't do anything.
Now,
won't do anything.
When you say in social media and guys are becoming bitches, you know, you're not talking about the operation itself, but you talk about they're becoming kind of weak when they represent on the online?
Just, yeah, and there, and even when I see out in real life as well. I mean, I see way more people online than I do in real life, but it just seems to be the trend now for guys. You know, it's okay to cry in front of people. It's okay to back down. It's okay to quit. It's okay to bow out. And it's leading into a lot of stuff that actually will be bad at some point, because laws and things are being implemented that everybody knows you're getting fucked. You know you're getting fucked, but nobody's willing to do anything about it. They're just going to stand by and just let it happen.
I saw this question on Family Feud last night. I'll ask Paulie first. Paulie, on a scale of 1 to 10, as a man that would cry, where do you rate yourself?
Oh, 3. How's that? I mean, 10 being most likely and 1 being the least likely. I'd say, yeah, about a 3.
All right. What about you, Bubba?
I mean, I don't know. It depends on, my mood, but would nobody ever see it. So I'll say 0 because I'd never allow someone else to see me doing it.
See, folks, these are two studs in denial. The average answer across the board was 8. And the reason I'm saying that to you is because you said it yourself. You see guys crying online. You see politicians, NFL football players. God bless Kevin Durant. He had a reason to cry, but you just see it all the time. I give myself, I got to be honest with you, I give myself a 6 or a 7 because I tell you what, I can tear up when I'm watching some sad videos on Facebook because I care about people. And sometimes when I'm watching the stuff like Britain's Got Talent or The Voice or whatever, where somebody just kicks ass, especially if it's some little kid or an elderly person, and just wipes the stage, man, I get choked up watching that stuff.
A tear in
I'm
the
not gonna
eye,
lie.
nothing wrong with a tear in the eye. I'm talking about snot coming out, crying like you skinned your
Nah, not
damn
full blown
teammates.
bawling. No, just something to make you get that lump in your throat and
Everybody gets a little. Look, I watch war movies. It's impossible to watch some of these damn things without getting some tears in your eye.
and so knowing that now, Paulie, where would you rate yourself?
And I still rate myself a 3, and the only reason I say so is because, I don't watch shows like American Idol, The Talents, and The Voice, and all that other kind of stuff. I mean, and no offense to you, man, because what you do for your entertainment is what you do for your entertainment.
Well, if you recall, I said it was on Facebook, and I know you're on my timeline, so we'll put up videos every once in a while of people that are really, really good and just blow people away. Like, they come up on stage, and they look like they're challenged in some way, and when they open their mouth, they just blow everybody away.
No way I'm going to sit here and lie and say that I ain't never got caught up in that either. You'll see somebody come out like he said, and then they'll do it, and they'll play the triumphant music, and they're crying, and it's like, yeah, good for you, and you can't help it. You get a little teary.
Yeah,
But,
if you
there's
got
nothing wrong with that.
Or the animal videos where you see the lion that recognizes the trainer that let him go.
Yeah, I got a little teary on that. But see, I don't even consider that crying. I mean, that's, a little tear you wipe it off.
It means you're human. You care about people. You love animals. It's okay. It's okay to be human. That. So, again, I brought that up because of you saying guys becoming pussies. You just see it more and more. But get back to what you were talking about with social media.
Well, it's not just social media. Like I said, that's just my largest influence because I see more people on there anywhere else.
Right.
It's just so okay now to just... let's not be competitive. Let's not fight. Let's not see if we're better than the other one. Let's not back ourselves up. Let's not have balls. Let's be emotional. Let's all the things that I know this is going to sound all misogynistic or whatever, but these are stereotypical male traits. Things that that's how we function. We have to have males in a society. There is just strength is important. I don't care if people get offended at that. Strength is important.
I see what he's talking about, though, because, I mean, when I go out and I notice a few certain things. I mean, like guys, maybe dyeing their hair a couple different colors or wearing those skin-tight jeans. You can even see it if you're listening. You can hear it in their voices. Like there's a certain tone or a certain inflection with the way that guys talk that at the end of their sentences, they kind of come up a little bit. And, that's kind of like an effeminate quality. I mean, maybe I'm the only one who notices it or pays that much attention. But to me, I've had to question the sexuality of a lot of different guys just because of the way they talk and the way they dress and the way that they, groom or present themselves,
Oh, you can be gay. You can be gay and still be a badass. I mean, that ain't even really my issue.
That's right.
It's simple being weak.
I know some NFL players that, would probably challenge that.
There's gay wrestlers that'll smash your head in. So, yeah, that doesn't matter. My issue is with guys just saying it's okay. When I was a kid, only a sissy would say it's not worth it if someone tried to fight him. You're weak. You're a bitch. It's not worth it. That's an excuse that a coward uses. Now that seems to be the rally cry of the males in America. It's not worth it.
That's
it's always worth it. It's always worth it.
There was an old Western series back in the day called The Big Valley. And it was Jared Barkley, the Barkley family. And the one brother was a fighter. He wanted to kick everybody's ass. And his other brother was a lawyer. And he's the one that says, well, wait a minute, guys. Can we talk about this? Can we talk about this? So he was the guy that you were referring to. And then, of course, they had a sister. And it was Linda Evans was her real name. And, man, did she have some titties. Oh, talk about a big valley. But, so it was, the one guy wanted to fight all the time. And then the other brother was more, hey, this isn't worth it. Yeah,
America's got a lot of enemies, man. We got a lot of people who don't like us. There's a lot of people there's guys out right now. Say there's a grown man who's got a family, he's got kids, he's got a wife, and he doesn't know shit about being a damn man. And there's some guy outside who does, and he's trying to get in there. And, that's not what you want. You don't want a society full of guys who don't know how to be guys.
So, Paulie, let me get your reflection on this, too. What about when we're supposed to be a superpower and we're the badasses, and then you see Obama dropping to a knee and kissing hands and bowing to people and this and that and the other?
There you go.
No, man. Well, I mean, anything that our president does kind of makes me want to run to the toilet and vomit or defecate. I mean, you just take your pick when it comes to him. But I mean, it is obvious. I mean, we were talking about this a couple nights ago too. I mean, what are some of the things that we did growing up that kids just don't do anymore? We'd go and we'd grab some plastic guns, or we'd make some guns out of wood or whatever. We'd go into the woods and we'd play army for a few hours. I mean, nowadays you can't even sell the kind of guns, toy guns that we used to play with. They've got to be all, pink or orange or painted or whatever. I mean, I honestly, when I was growing up, man, I had a toy AK-47 that nowadays would probably get me shot in the dark if somebody, with a badge saw me carrying the gun.
Oh, yeah, exactly. And I had the Dick Tracy and the gun smoke and all, and the Secret Agent 86. The Man from U.N.C.L.E. was big for me. I'm showing you my age now, but I was a secret agent, the Man from U.N.C.L.E. back in the day.
Guys have always wanted to emulate, boys have always wanted to emulate, older guys. You pick a guy, you want to be like that, and I've always wanted to be like the World War II guys, the hardcore, nothing bothers me. I get my leg cut off and I'll keep moving forward. Nowadays, it seems like boys want to emulate their damn moms.
Well, go ahead. No,
that seems to be the norm, that guys, boys, guys, whatever, they want to be like their damn moms.
Well, Jen was telling me about a 10-year-old, a son of one of her girlfriends. He wants to be a Navy SEAL. He's only 10 years old. He's already taken the classes. He's in these swim classes where they teach him to hold his breath underwater and all kind of stuff. He wants to be a Black Ops or a Navy SEAL, and he had to take he got a sore throat or the flu, and they had to take some antibiotics, and he's freaking out. He's going, hey, I don't want to do this, Mom. I can't get any drugs in my body. They're going to test my hair, and I'll never make the Navy SEALs. And she of course, she capitalized on that. She pointed out, she says, that's right. Don't worry about drugs or alcohol. You want to be a Navy SEAL. He's
awesome.
10 years old. He's obsessed.
I like that.
Well, take a look at some of the male role models though that you have on television nowadays. And I mean, look at your sitcoms. I mean, the kind of stuff that kids and people will watch with their family. Your adult males, especially the white males, are portrayed as buffoons and idiots and
I blame the role models. You're right. You're exactly right, Paulie. I blame the role models, man.
Now, we're talking about comedy sitcoms or regular sitcoms. I'm thinking like Everybody Loves Raymond, where the brother, Raymond, Mother loves you better than me, Raymond. But then you got, they're all like sweet and happy. And then you had the shows like Family Ties and the one with Tony Danza and what's her face?
Kids ain't got no Knight Rider. They ain't got no David Hasselhoff.
Yeah.
The kids need some David Hasselhoff or something like that. They got no A-Team. They got the shit that we watched that made us go, yeah, I want to be B.A. Baracus and I want to be Knight Rider. Now it's not there.
Take a look at it like this. I mean, you go from say, just if we're going to talk sitcoms for a second, we go from Cheers to Seinfeld. All right, you had Sam Malone, a lifelong womanizer, a guy who was pretty much masculine to the core.
Sam Malone was a pimp.
He was a pimp. And then you go from that to Jerry Seinfeld, who's an absolute whiny, pathetic, wishy-washy, pussy, for lack of better words. I mean, he was a total pussy. And then I mean, by the time it got to Friends, you couldn't tell which ones were the girls. I mean,
Friends turned the country into pussies.
When I was growing up, I watched shows like Vic Morrow with Combat. The Combat, and I saw, and then there was a show back in the day, David Janison was The Fugitive, and of course then they tried to redo that with Harrison Ford. It didn't do that show the justice that it deserved, but but then they had their corny stuff back in the day too. My Favorite Martian and Dick Van Dyke and I Love Lucy and Make Room for Daddy.
Let's use I Love Lucy. Ricky, put a foot in Lucy's ass. You know what I mean? Ricky was a man. Ricky was a man. Lucy knew to respect his ass, and like I said, once again, here goes misogyny. But Ricky was a man.
Well, Fred handled Ethel's business for the most part too.
Yeah, see, you got Ralph Cramden. He told her that he'd knock the shit out of her. He said it in a funny way, but basically he said, "I'm gonna knock shit out of you, bitch."
What about Fred and Barney? Fred and Barney. Fred Flintstone. He take care of business.
Yeah, Fred took no shit.
That's
Fred
right.
Took no shit. Those and you could even if it's a joke, but you emulate it.
We're gonna have
That's
some
a
girls
guy.
pissed off listening to this. All right.
Oh yeah, women are going to be fine. But I mean, there are plenty of women who understand that women want to be treated like women. You want to be treated like a lady. There's nothing wrong with that. For me to hold your door for you, or if something bad's happening, to step in between you and whatever bad is happening. If the house is on fire, I'm the one that's supposed to burn. I'm the guy. If we're outside and it's fucking cold as shit, I'm the one that's supposed to be freezing because you've got my coat. I'll treat, that's how it's supposed to be. And there are plenty of females who want to be treated like that. Now, if you want to be treated equal and you piss me off and I hit you in the face, and if we're both cold, I take your coat, and if the house is burned and I ask you to save me, then yeah, go ahead. But there's not many women going to sign up for that.
Paulie, he reminds me of the Korean ship captain that was jumping off in his friggin' underwear a couple weeks ago.
There you go, man. And those are kids on
That's
there.
a bitch.
A man
That's
knows
a bitch.
those are kids, man. You stay on that boat, you get them damn kids off that boat. But nowadays, that's how American guys would be. Fuck that, I'm out of here. See y'all later.
Unbelievable.
And that's what I'm fearing, that it's going towards that we're going to have guys that doing that shit right there. Firemen going, man, it's too hot. I'm not going in there.
Well, do you think one day that the females can end up being the big guns and the bosses and controlling?
As far as intelligent-wise, I've met way more intelligent females than I have with males. But it's just what do you want to call it? Biology, man. Males are just structurally stronger.
We're supposed to be more assertive, intellectually, physically, whatever we're supposed to be.
Like I said, I've met way more intelligent females than I have males.
I've seen some weightlifting females on Facebook this past week. They were huge.
Yeah, and the girls on the social media, they have way more balls than the guys do.
Whoa, is it because they're behind a keyboard behind their microphone, or because?
But I mean, the guys are too. The guys are behind the keyboard, and yet they're still scared. So
how would you guys agree that sometimes alter egos flourish, either male or female when you're on your online persona?
Oh, no. Definitely, man.
No, absolutely not.
People love to go in there and be something that they're not. That's their chance to do it. It's their chance. It's like going to a new school. It's their chance to go in and be something that they're completely not.
Go ahead, Paulie.
I don't know. I kind of disagree with that. I think that it's when somebody gets behind the internet and when somebody is got the keyboard in front of them that their true self comes out. I mean, it's all, I guess, a matter of when they're really wearing the mask.
Really, Paulie? Really? So all the chicks that put up the fake pictures and talk dirty and will go as far. Really, Paulie? You think that people are being real when they're on the internet?
I think that more often than not, people allow their more. The things that they inhibit, sure. The things that they're too inhibited to expose in real life come out behind the safety of anonymity.
Okay, and the reason I wanted you to explain that further is I do agree with that. So what Paulie's saying is, yeah, there's a lot of fronting going on the internet, but there's a lot of stuff that people do that they wouldn't do in real life, but in essence, that is actually the real them coming through, but they do like Bubba said, and they pussy back up when they go out in public.
Yeah, but it's semantics again, though, because that's not who they really are. They're going there, they're still pretending to be something else. They're on there exposing their pervert side or their violent side or whatever that's actually already in them, but it's still not them. They're still pretending to be something else.
Or it reminds you of the big, fat, naked Santa Claus sitting behind the monitor.
Yeah, right. Regardless of how they're acting on there, if they really do have those kind of thoughts, they're just thoughts, and that's not who they really are. On there, I think that 90% of the people in a damn social media, in a chat room or whatever you want to call it, they're fake. They're nothing like what they would actually be.
So what about like the guys who go into, say, for example, JTV, which is a really good example because they'll let just about anybody.
The average listener of our show, the average listener of our show doesn't even know what the fuck JTV is. So let's just keep it generic.
Right. Well, you're pedophiles. You're guys who go in to watch, young girls broadcasting, and they let all of their creepy pedophile shit out. Now, I mean, obviously they can't go out in life and do the same thing, although occasionally they do. But I mean, that's the whole basis of that show, to catch a predator, is that these guys who are hiding amongst us in societies. They let those masks go. They take off of the disguise and they become their real selves online, and they start perving the 12 and 14-year-old girls, and then all of a sudden, they're caught for being the monsters that they really are. Now, I mean, is that necessarily fake? I mean, they use it as an excuse, and they say, oh, well, it's all just role play, and
that's apples and oranges, dude. You just went from everyday personas to fucking being a predator. It's apples and oranges.
Those people are trying to go outside the internet. They're trying to meet someone.
But let me tell you something.
Really are.
Of course, and since Paulie brought that up, Paulie, I saw an article just 2 days ago where they have a digital 10-year-old Filipino girl, and she's on all these sites where known pedophiles hang, And they did a deal where it's actually a robot, but it looks real. It talks. It does everything. Look it up. Anybody listening, or Paulie or Bubba, Google it. 10-year-old Filipino digital girl. It's spooky. It showed a video of her. And these guys, when these 10-year-old, 12-year-old little girls pop up, especially from the Philippines, these guys they're just hammering the internet. And Paulie, ironically, a lot of these people are these rich motherfuckers that, will go to the Philippines or will fly somebody somewhere. It's sick stuff. So, and another thing Paulie said, and he did mention a specific platform, whether or not they're there, pedophiles are everywhere. And then, of course, you got to remember, not from a pedophile side, you got to remember your 60 or 70-year-old dude that's posing as an 18 or 20-year-old guy to talk to young chicks. So,
you know what would stop all that right now? Parents not allowing their fucking underage kids have a goddamn computer in their room at night alone. Done. Stop.
Pretty simple. Pretty simple. Or let's do some fingerprint, some digital ID before you log into a site.
Start making it a crime. If your dog gets loose and bites the shit out of somebody, you are responsible. If your 10-year-old girl's upstairs in her damn bedroom on a laptop with a camera showing herself off, then no one's responsible.
I don't think that
parent should be charged.
I don't think homeowners would cover it, though. But you're right. It's all about control, man. But the
parent bought it. The parent gave it to him. The parent's got the Wi-Fi. You allowed that.
All right. Let me ask you guys something. Let me ask you guys something, because I'm older than you. I remember when I was a little dude, and like they had the adult channels on cable, and they would be all snowy. So you'd try to like look in there and see if you could see the bodies, and then you have your descramblers and scramblers, and then back. It's like, man, I'm thinking about today. I think about this a lot. Kids that are growing up. And they got shit like Tube8 and RedTube and YouPorn and PornTube and SexTube and all this free shit on the internet. I mean, I was a horny little fucker when I was growing up, but I can't imagine. I think that stuff kind of lends itself to crime and perverts and rapists and everything else too. And I don't care. I mean, it's just too accessible, man. It's way too.
Natural progression. It's what we were talking about earlier with me when I said I got bored with shit. These kids are already fucking, by the time they're in their mid-teens, they're more experienced than most of us are just because of the shit they've seen on the fucking internet.
What's the biggest moneymaker on the internet, Paulie?
Pornography.
Absolutely.
There'd be no internet if it wasn't for porn.
Pretty much.
Really. In the beginning, that's what got the internet going. No one gave a shit about talking to anybody else. It was porn.
So listen to both of you. I agree with you, Bubba, about guys get a little pussyfied lately. I agree with Paulie when he says that sometimes they're being what they really are. Other times, though, we do try to fake each other out. But today, I mean, back when it first started, you didn't have the webcams and everything, so it was easy to type in bullshit.
Right.
But today, it's pretty easy to figure out.
Exactly.
And then, of course, what are you going to get? What's the excuse, Paulie? Oh, my laptop's broke. Oh, my camera's broke. Oh, I don't have a camera. Then it's like, all right, game over right there. Game over.
Yep.
Well, all right. So then, do we all agree that we think the guys are becoming a little more sissified or becoming a little more human? What's the final thought on this, Bob?
Pussies, big time. They're becoming pussies, dude. I mean, I genuinely fear for a generation of guys growing up who are more concerned with how their shoes look than their ability to stand up to a bully. And I mean, we are definitely castrating our males.
Bullies, that's another issue. That's because you got one tough kid now and a bunch of sissies. It's easy to be a bully now because all the damn kids are sissies. So stop letting your kids be sissies. And
so what's going to happen? What's going to happen if we ever have another draft?
Yeah, exactly.
Canada's population is going to. Yeah, Canada's population is going to triple overnight.
That is absolutely terrifying that I could be in my declining years, in the next 30, 40, whatever the hell, and some shit pops off and they got to draft all these, man.
I don't know. I'd say, with the gays in the military now, go ahead and let the lesbians on the rag be up front and then let the fellas clean up when it's all over. All right, so anyway. Woo! You're the first, you're the last, you're my everything. And, Bubba, thank you so much for that. We're going to take a break, listen to some stupid stuff. When we come back, Paullywood and the smoke screen machine. And he's going to be talking about some crazy stuff as well. So keep it right here. It is the Foxxcast on Earthcast Radio. Don't go anywhere. We're almost done, but not quite.
You're listening to the RaunchFoxxx Foxxcast on Earthcast Radio. Out of this world programming. Stay tuned for more.
Hi, I'm Ryan Seacrest for RAD. Over 300 people in this country are killed every week by a drunk driver. That's the equivalent of 2 747 plane crashes every single week. And the problem isn't going away unless we all do our part to stop it. So if you see someone who's about to drive after drinking, get the keys. Don't leave it up to anyone else. Friends don't let friends drive drunk.
A public service announcement brought to you by RAD, the National Association of Broadcasters, and the Ad Council.
I tell you, it's not like it used to be.
Yeah, you got that right.
Hey, Grandpa, what are you and Hank going on about?
The old days. The good old days.
Yeah, the good old days. When a man was a man.
That's right.
When a woman was a lady.
You know it.
When premarital relations and infidelity were as commonplace then as they are today.
What? Wait, what?
Yeah, a new study came out today. Turns out the good old days weren't that good. In fact, they were pretty bad, if you know what I mean.
Why, you... Hey, has anyone seen my wife?
Yeah, she was talking to our gardener. They were looking pretty familiar, if you ask me.
Let's get him, Hank! Not again, Margaret!
Grandpa!
Back off, old people. You're just as bad as we are. A message brought to you by Outback Steakhouse. Outback. No rules, just right.
Trump sits alone in his penthouse pad, doing interviews and calling Rosie fat. If he didn't spend all of his time hating, maybe The Apprentice would get better ratings. He's Trump, he's a bitter man. He's Trump, hates that lesbian. Trump says Rosie's fame is not deserved. Rosie said she must have really hit a nerve. Doesn't he know that they're kind of the same? They're really loud and both of them like names. He's Trump, don't like the view. He's Trump, he's gonna sue. Is this Trump out of his head? I think so. Does he want her to drop it? I think so.
The show your mother warned you about. The RaunchFoxxx cyber sickness, infesting radios and computers near you. Catch the virus today and get a good dose of Raunch. No cure in sight anytime soon.
Are you a parent? Do you find your grown kids spending way too much time at home with you? Is your alone time becoming less and less frequent? If so, call us. We're privacy providers. At Privacy Providers, we bring back the privacy you were expecting to get when the fruit of your loins grew up. Our system is simple. First, our trained staff of former Army Rangers physically removes your unwanted children from the home. We then take your young adult to an array of locations often frequented by people their age, like movie theaters, malls, and our very own social lounge set deep in the woods behind a 7-Eleven, where young people do what comes natural. Make out, get stoned, and enjoy a 99-cent Busch Light in a can. After a few hours of forced socialization, most of our subjects no longer think you are the most awesome people to hang out with. Get the freedom you've longed for. Call Privacy Providers at 1-800-GET-LOST and arrange a child removal today. Stop changing the locks. Let Privacy Providers empty your nest.
Here we go.
And now, Foxxcast followers, it's time to debunk the debunkers with his style of telling it like it probably is. It's the smokescreen machine, Paullywood, on the RaunchFoxxx Foxxcast.
Hey, all you city slickers, did you ever want to get down and...
All right, we're going to sing. Everybody sing, come on. Paullywood. Hey. Paullywood. Don't fear the Pauly. What's up, buddy?
Don't fear the reefer. Hey, you know what? This week I wanted to talk about a little piece of legislation that I think everybody's kind of aware of. I brought it to the two of your attention yesterday. So have either of you, I guess it would be pointless to ask, but what do you guys think of the National Defense Authorization Act?
I think it'd be hard to spell.
Yeah, I would have to call it the NDAA. I'll call it the NDAA.
We'll call it that.
Yeah. You guys are right. That's a little bit
I think phonetically it sounds like an official group. I think that I think that you're about ready to pick it apart. And if I start talking, I'm going to talk too much and fuck up your segment. So
don't fuck up my segment.
We're going to jump into it in just a minute as well. But talk about authority.
All right. Well, you see what the National Defense the National Defense Authority Act, basically what it allows is for the military of this country to act as police, both on within our borders and abroad as well, against American citizens. Now, the provisions of this law are pretty detailed and they're pretty drawn out, and they're confusing, obviously, for the layman like you or I to really follow. But the key provisions is that it allows the military to act as a police force and to arrest and detain indefinitely U.S. citizens who are suspected of or accused of being a terrorist. Now, maybe the most troubling piece of this legislation in and of itself is that it doesn't really go so far as to define what a terrorist is or what a homegrown terrorist might be considered. And that's something that's kind of left to ambiguity. So, I mean, let me just ask the two of you. I mean, in this day and age, in 2014, what are the kinds of actions that you think might get you labeled as a potential homegrown terrorist?
Go ahead, Paulie. You want to start, Bubba?
Yeah, I'll start with, as far as that, I don't know. But if all they had to do was come over and ask me a few questions because they thought that I might be suspect in some way and I'm not doing anything, I have no problem answering it. I really don't. If asking me and a couple other dumbasses, what the hell we're doing, keep someone from getting blown up, at a damn carnival or where, or whatever, then do what you gotta do.
Well, what if I were to tell you that, as of H.R. 1966, which was a bill passed prior to the NDAA, that basically defines a potential homegrown terrorist as somebody who speaks out against government policies or somebody who has an activist mentality on social media, including Facebook, somebody who posts, say, pictures about chemtrails. What if I were to tell you that some of the things that some of us do on a regular basis make us fit that classification, and that, as opposed to just being asked a few questions, if so they choose, you can be detained for that kind of thing. Now, how would you feel about that?
Well, I've already thought about it being speaking out on chemtrails, but there's so many people doing it. But then again, the ones that are really speaking out, there's a list of people that, let's cut to the chase. They've either disappeared, they've been found dead, or for some strange reason, a lot of them are just committing suicide. And, let's put it this way. The budget and the expenditures of the Department of Defense, they include other provisions for stuff just like this. The Defense Authorization Act, the appropriations bills like you're talking about. And these are the ones that are not only responsible for defense of the country, and Paulie's absolutely right. And we got a guy that threatened Obama on the internet, and he's back on the internet now, but he did his time a couple years. He made a statement to the effect of, hey, I don't have any money, pay my way from where I'm at to the White House and get me a gun and I'll take care of business. And he was threatening a specific president at the time. Next thing you know, he's got black ops helicopters flying around his house and the FBI kicks his door in. And we know who this guy is on the internet. But again, he did his 2 years of time. And that's pretty much what it was under. But getting back to it, you're talking about the Authorization Act, Paulie. The authorization bill itself is what determines the agencies responsible for defense to establish the levels to fund the stuff. They set the policies that, where the money's going to be spent. I mean, right now, the Senate, they were debating this as recently as November of last year. But it's got the potential to become the next in a long series of bills. It's basically, Paulie, what you're saying is it's just going to give our police and the authorities the power to do whatever the hell they want to us.
For the most part, yes. And I mean, I think really it's not so much the NDAA that's the most troubling piece of legislation that's associated with that. I mean, you're getting into the age now where, they're pushing for heavy gun control. I mean, in Connecticut, they're trying to get people to both register and they're trying to get the police to seize these weapons. And they're having trouble getting to that point. But I mean, somebody who stockpiles ammunition or somebody who stockpiles dried food, somebody who's considered a prepper might fall under the the category of a homegrown terrorist because of those activities alone. So when you get to a point, in our rapidly pussified society where, the government's looking to try and disarm us, you do kind of have to worry about what the next few steps are going to be and how they're going to go about their end game. And more so, to tie in what we were talking about earlier, whether or not there are going to be enough of us who are willing to stand up for things and say, no, you know what, enough is enough. This is in our Constitution and we're keeping it. And you're not going to get our guns. If you want to get our guns, you're going to get them bullets first.
Well, this isn't new. I mean, the government's been labeling people as radicals and shit since the mid-'60s and on up. I mean, if they label you a radical or now they're going to call it a terrorist, it's the same thing, just a new term. And, they're going to come question you, they're going to ask you, and they're going to clear you. I mean, if you're clear, and if not, then, I guess that's your own issue. But yeah, I mean, everybody knows that. It's an inherent risk when you start speaking out against things that you may piss somebody off. We have the right to say whatever the hell we want, but then, people have the right to not like it. And if they don't,
Yeah, and I was going to say, they talk about, the NDAA. It's probably, or it was as recently, for the last couple of years, it's been one of the top controversial elements of Obama's foreign policy. But did we talk about Section 1021 yet, Paulie? Were you going to?
No, we hadn't talked about it, but isn't that the section that kind of, doesn't necessarily limit who can and can't be taken into custody, but where they can be taken into custody?
You're sharp as a tack, dude. Yeah, I mean, basically, that bill, it allowed for the indefinite detention of American citizens without due process, and that's what you were talking about. And this was at the discretion of the president. And this thing has been challenged. They're saying it's a violation of constitutional principles and the United States Bill of Rights. This detention clause has been broadly denounced. I mean, there's people that are just irritated about it. You talk about people like the ACLU, Amnesty International, the Human Rights First Group, the Human Rights Watch Group, the Center of Constitutional Rights, the Cato Institute, the Reason Management, the Council of American Islamic Relations. I mean, it's criticized in editorials. It's in the New York Times, also in Al Jazeera, The Guardian. The ACLU said that the statute is actually dangerous because it has no temporal or geographic limitations. Like you said, Paul, you can go here, or abroad. It can be used by this, and it can also be used by future presidents to militarily detain people captured far from any battlefield. So think about what that's saying. What is it really setting up? Gosh, we're getting back into potential FEMA camps, but the point is, it's saying that a disclosure of mandatory requirement that it's obvious. Let's say, for example, you got a defense contractor working out of the country, and they got classified information where their network has been penetrated or attacked. Well, then the government's got to know about it. But the Department of Defense, they have to be adamant about asserting a clause in contracts that mandates the reporting of security breaches. And I mean, let's go a little bit deeper a minute. What about cyber intrusion? Let's talk about cyber intrusion for a minute. The same type of stuff. And you're not talking about detection. I mean, you're talking about like in 2009 or 10, Paul? I don't know if you heard about this, when the Chinese spies hacked the Pentagon's F-35 fighter project, $300 billion project. They noted that China introduced a stealth fighter that was essentially an American stealth fighter with Chinese paintwork. So it goes beyond just people doing things. I mean, we're talking about government spying and hacking each other and getting back into the military race. And then you got the continued build up of the military industrial complexes. You're talking about $600-700 billion for all this kind of stuff. I mean, how's that for fiscal cliff? You talk about a sequestration project or tightening our belts. I mean, it's a lot bigger than just, people being detained by the police. But you know what, Paulie? But I think you'll agree. This is the same thing that they've done for years. They seed us with things, and it's gradual. And I'm going to get right back to where you brought me into this conversation with the chemtrails. You look up now, the sky's not as blue. It's hazy. It's gray. And all of a sudden, people are starting to awaken and question everything. Same thing's going on here with what they're doing and how they have the right to detain. And, of course, the president makes the ultimate decision.
Well, I think the biggest fear that people have regarding the NDAA is the implementation of martial law and the turning this country into a police state. I mean, yes, 30, 40 years ago, people were listed as radicals and they were looked into by the FBI, but they weren't put on no-fly lists. They weren't restricted from leaving or returning to the country. I mean, things are changing at a pace now that is a little bit more rapid than just the gradual process of kind of robbing us of our freedoms. And so, we're getting to the point where we're slipping closer and closer to that Orwellian state. And if enough of us, don't stand up, if too many of us have been pussified over the last 20, 30 years, then what's going to happen when they finally decide, okay, tonight's the night, let's go do it. Let's start kicking down doors. Let's start taking people's guns. Anybody who resists, put a bullet in them.
Exactly.
Happened before. Lincoln suspended habeas corpus and actually put a whole town on lockdown. All the citizens, everybody in it, because it's where their largest Civil War POW prison was, and they had gotten word that there was going to be a huge break and an uprising. Lincoln suspended all constitutional rights and locked the whole town down.
I'll go back.
Sure, but at that time, the country was a battle zone. There was a civil war going on.
Regardless, he's done it before, so it's not new.
Well, go back before that. Go back before that. I mean, we're talking about, we're getting, as we say, we're getting sleepwalked into becoming a police state. Pre-Magna Carta, the monarchs back in the day of pre-Magna Carta, the president could lock up anyone.
Oh yeah.
Same deal. So this is not anything new. It's just being like, well, this worked then, maybe it'll work now.
They used to lie about shit because they didn't want the American people to find out what they were doing because they were afraid of what the American people would do. Now they don't lie because they know that the American people ain't going to do shit. So they just tell you, this is what we're doing. What are you going to do about it?
The history of this kind of stuff, and this is like anything. And Paulie, I know you're going to agree with this, and I like when you disagree. That's why that's why people listen to us. But history shows that there really isn't much time to mount a defense once the first few arrests take place. Everybody gets people just get kind of quiet and they watch. I mean, there's only one solution, and that's to organize votes loudly, publicly, to defeat every single signer of the bill.
Before it happens.
For the general election. I mean, once we have our republic back and the rule of law, then we can deal with the actual treason that this law represents. But, Paulie, I mean, it goes back to what you said, Bubby. We're becoming pussies. All of this stuff that we're talking about, all these different subjects and segments, it's all tying together in some way today. And the synchronicity of this show is tripping me out right now because it gets down to, are we going to man up and woman up and stand up and do what we're going to say and get our fucking republic back? Or are we just going to sit back and let them spray us like bugs and arrest us whenever they want and call us out on anything because we're awakened and we're starting to question everything?
Look at how history looks at the German people for allowing the Holocaust to happen. That's what we look at them like. You allowed that to happen. That we look at those people as they stood there and allowed that shit to happen. But I mean, we all know if any of them would have stood up, what would have happened to them? I mean, they were just living in a state that they had no control over, and they allowed it to get to there. Had they stopped it before it got to that point, it wouldn't have been an issue.
The first thing he did when he got into power was seize control of people's weapons, which is why, everybody's gotten all up in arms about them taking our assault.
You got to be willing to fight. You got to be willing to say, I will not allow you to do what you're trying to do to me. You've got to be willing to do that. It takes sacrifice, and it's scary, and it's, you never know how it's going to happen or how it's going to work out, but you've got to be willing to stand the hell up and say, I will not let you do what you're trying to do to me.
Well, you talk about also with terrorists. I mean, one thing that I don't think you have mentioned. Let's talk about Guantanamo Bay for a minute. I mean, they had restrictions there. Does this group, if you will, does it prevent the closure of a detention facility at Guantanamo Bay, as an example? The NDAA, they actually do three things, at least during fiscal years. This goes back as recently as 2 years ago for Obama, to fulfill his promise to close the detention facility, and all that's old news now. But it forbid him to spend any money readying an alternative site, and forbidding transfers of detainees to the United States. But then, Paulie, ask yourself, does this type of thing prevent civilian criminal trials of terrorism suspects? Because you're talking about terrorists. Does this prevent civilian criminal trials of terrorism suspects?
No, I think it actually opens the door for it, doesn't it? I mean, and that, is probably the most terrifying thing of all, because you can get 12 people on a jury who will say, yeah, you know what, maybe he isn't guilty, let him go, when somebody who actually poses a threat is being put on trial. You might get 12 people who are sympathetic to your defendant when your defendant's not really such a great guy to begin with.
Well, I talked about Guantanamo back then, so the answer for me would have been yes and no, because the restriction on the transfer of, say, the detainees that they had in Guantanamo to the United States actually prevented civilian trials for anyone there. But the earlier versions of the bill would have made it either difficult or impossible to bring new captures to trial. One other question: does it repeal the Bill of Rights?
Absolutely, it does. I mean, it tramples all over. The Fifth Amendment of Posse Comitatus.
Once again, something else that's not new. Once you have been deemed enemy of the state, you no longer have the rights of an American citizen.
Well, and if we stuck by what we wrote, guys, with the Bill of Rights, no federal statute can repeal the Bill of Rights to the extent that any provision of this NDAA is found to conflict with any provision of the Bill of Rights. It will not survive the constitutional scrutiny. But lately, the Constitution doesn't seem to matter as much. So if it doesn't significantly expand the government's detention authority, and it doesn't authorize detention of citizens, it doesn't really mandate the military detention of other terrorist suspects, and if it doesn't do more to prevent the closure of a place like Gitmo than does current law, what's the fuss about? I mean, is it even important?
Absolutely, it's important because it still applies to us. Yeah,
exactly.
Precedent. It sets precedent, definitely.
Absolutely.
It opens the door.
So, Paulie, you've opened our eyes to this a little bit, and a lot of people just see it in the news and they blow it off, and they go back to their sissified lies that Bubba was talking about earlier through social media and all the other stuff. But these are the issues that we need to see because, again, they're sleepwalking us right into a police state, brother.
Well, let me ask you. I mean, first of all, there's this old parable, and I think it's very common to the Communist Manifesto that the way to boil a frog in water is not to drop the frog in boiling water, but to drop him in water and to slowly bring it to a boil. Right?
Excellent, excellent analogy.
The process of graduation. One
it's
gradualization, gradual, yes.
Pavlovian response. If you keep doing it over and over to people, they eventually just get used to it, and they say "fuck it."
That's right. Well, again, a Nazi parable. If you repeat a lie often enough, it becomes truth. Now, the other thing that when we touched upon the Nazis that I really wanted to bring up was, how the German people kind of allowed it. There's another old saying that, first they came for, the mentally ill. And because I wasn't mentally ill, I didn't stand up for it. And then second, they came for the handicapped. And because I wasn't handicapped, I did nothing and I didn't stand up. Then they came for the Jews. And because I wasn't a Jew, I didn't stand up for it. And then they came for me. And then it was too late. So, I mean, it's the same thing over and over, the same process of gradualization. But, it starts...
History looks at the German people as cowards for allowing that to happen. And in time, I feel that we're going to be looked at as cowards because we allowed the precedent to be set and we allowed things to happen.
Well, guilty by association.
Yep, we sat there and we let it happen. We all did. Everybody let it happen. Nobody's doing what they're supposed to do. Nobody's getting out and do. We can't. I mean, you can't because that means not going to work. And that means you can't afford cable and that means you can't watch Game of Thrones.
Well, think about it like this, too. I mean, all of these people who voted for Obama to be our president both times, do you think they really want to accept the responsibility for what he's doing to the Constitution and to the country? I mean, do you think they want to acknowledge what their vote has helped contribute to? Absolutely
Him getting in proves one thing, that this country is lazy as shit and they all want something for free. He convinced people very well. He did a great job of convincing everybody who's going to give you a bunch of free shit, and that's what put him in.
Well, there's definitely change going on, but you know what's ironic? Back in 2009 or 10, former White House counsel Craig, his name was Greg Craig, he assured in the New Yorker's Jane Meyer back in February of 2009, he said, quote, "It's hard to imagine Barack Obama as the first president of the United States to introduce a preventative detention law." And then 4 months later, he proposed exactly that law. And it was basically a departure from the way this country sees itself as a place where people are in the grip of the government. Either they are going to face criminal charges or they're going to walk free. And now he's going to he signs the scheme into law. And here we are.
Hey, God bless you, Raunch. You really did your homework on this topic, and I am really thankful to have had your input on this. You did a great job.
Well, everybody should be pissed off if it's not chemtrails. If it ain't one thing, it's another. Anyway, it's just, again, as we get older, man, we just become more aware, and everybody's awakening. Social media is making everything happen so quick. It's hard for the government to come up with something. All of a sudden now, the 370, the Malaysian airliner, no, it's not here. Well, maybe it's in the Bay. Well, maybe it's not here. Now they're still jerking people around to this day because their lies are not good enough anymore because we're quicker, slicker, faster, sharper. So you're right, man. Everybody's a terrorist, and they can just, one day I think they're going to go through all the Facebooks and all the different media and see who's saying what. And if there's something they don't like, it's going to be a big raid, and they're just going to go out and gather everybody up.
You know, and I understand because Bubba made a really good point the other day when he said, you know, that the people in the military, that's their own families that would be doing this, you know, too, or, you know, there are actually provisions that are allowing them to bring in NATO troops and foreign troops to take care of these things.
It has to be foreign. It would have to be foreign troops.
Absolutely.
Then you're going to have a fucking street revolution. Because I promise you that your soldiers and your Marines are not going to come rounding you up just to be doing it, because it's not, they won't do it.
Couldn't agree more, Bubba. But you know what? The president has been dismissing high-ranking officials and high-ranking officers in all branches of the military in record numbers in the last 2-3 years. And these are probably people who have openly, you know, admitted that they would not go along with these types of policies. And he can't have those kind of people commanding his troops.
Well, you know what?
The government,
Go ahead.
The government's only as strong as their military. And I promise you that the military is comprised of guys just like us. And they'll only take so much shit.
And they're only as strong as their weakest link, because just a couple months ago, Congress lets Obama have what's called free reign for martial law. So basically, the new currency law is going to be going into effect supposedly soon. They got these legal teams that are asking the Supreme Court to take a challenge to the indefinite detention provisions of the NDAA Act. The controversial provision, it includes the military, not just police, under the presidential authority, and lets them arrest and kidnap and detain without trial, hold indefinitely. Kind of reminds me when you get drunk and you go to Mexico and you fuck up and they say, man, you could be thrown into a jail for 3 years and never even be heard from again.
Right.
Scary stuff, man. Not what I want in my country.
No, not at all.
I've lived my whole life knowing that they could do that, because they could tell me tomorrow that they've got proof I killed somebody, and then there you go, I'm done, because I can't afford the right lawyer to fight my way out of it. They've got more proof than I have disproof, and I'm doing life in prison. I mean, it's always been like that. It's always been like that. You know, if they don't like you, they'll find a way to get rid of you. That's not new. That's not something that any of us. It's just now it's open. I mean, there's no reason to lie anymore.
Hey guys, if you ever see me in the news and say they found a suicide note next to my body, they're lying.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly. Right. Who know? I mean, we all know that they do it. We made jokes about it. You know, we've all done it since we were old enough to understand what the government was. We've made jokes about how they'll make you disappear and watch what you say and don't do this, and you know. But now we know it. We know that they're really going to do it, and who's doing anything about it?
So, Paulie, you got me fired up on that one, man. You started talking yesterday. I did a little research, as you can see, but it got me fired up as well because, again, wake up, people. Not only look up in the sky, wake up, see what's going on around you, because, your freedom's about ready to get tagged.
I mean, if you're going to get fucked, at least be aware that you're being fucked.
Right, exactly, and have the decency to ask for a reach around while you're at it. Well, hey, if I opened up your eyes, Raunch, then I'm proud of myself for it. And again, really impressed with the amount of homework you obviously did in a short amount of time on this topic.
Well, you're getting too good, man. You're bringing me up to another level on the serious stuff. Where people are like, what does RaunchFoxx getting all serious for? Because I like it. And Bubba, he's bringing some good stuff. So guys, good job this week, man. I appreciate what both of you brought. So if that wasn't enough, all of a sudden now we're doing a half hour longer than we normally do. We're about an hour and a half into this thing. It is the RaunchFoxxx Foxxcast podcast and Earthcast Radio. Bubba, thank you for getting all up and serious, because these social media guys and platform people start listening to this side of you. They're not ready for it, man. They're not ready for it.
We'll get them in here.
I had somebody say to me last week, well, I don't know about that ex-felon guy. I don't know. I said, you don't know? Well, I know why I'm bringing him. And if she's listening right now, and I'm not going to say her name, but it rhymes with Schmatty Schmonley, check him out, because he's got a lot to say. So again, thank you, Bubba. Thank you so much, Paulie. And I appreciate you guys interjecting with our banter and everything this week. It's only going to keep getting better. And now it's time to start bringing in some good guests and experts on some of this stuff, and maybe make a couple phone calls and, pre-record as well. And let's hear both sides of the story. So I'm excited. So again, guys, thanks a lot for everything this week.
Okay, man.
All right,
yeah,
so
let's get ready for show number 13, man. I've already got some ideas, so
lucky 13. That's what it's going to be. Well, listen, everybody. Once again, it is the RaunchFoxxx Foxxcast here on Earthcast Radio. That wraps it up. Episode number 12. We thank you so much for listening. Check us out each and every week. Tell your friends. Podomatic.com, Stitcher, Spreaker, iTunes, YouTube. It's everywhere. Just Google us. RaunchFoxxx Foxxcast. So with that, everybody, thanks a lot. We'll see you next week.
That's all, folks.
That wraps up another edition of the RaunchFoxxx Foxxcast. If you're a glutton for punishment, keep coming back for more, and don't forget to check out RaunchFoxxx.com. The RaunchFoxxx Foxxcast. Seen and heard around the web and the main vein of Earthcast Radio.